get rolling. So first off, thanks everybody for being here. In case you are new to the group, today is our 4-year anniversary of these events. So we started about 6 years ago, 7 years ago online as just a pure LinkedIn group, and we've got about 7,500 people now online, which puts us in the top 1% of all the LinkedIners that are out there, which is kind of fun. So about 4 years ago then, 4.5 years ago, we got together with a group of initial sponsors, and we decided to start bringing these events to the real world. So what you see today is a result of those initial efforts. So what we're doing today would not be possible without our sponsors, so what I'd like to do is introduce all of them, and if we could give them a round of applause at the end. So I see Mike standing in the back here from the top people. Mike, can you raise your hand? And then Tom Gaddy from Black Twig, also in the back. The guys from Swift System, and also Jess Cack, so if you could raise your hand. We have a newcomer that's with Swift Systems. Parkside, is Dave here? Anybody from Parkside? Parkside Financial. How about Polsinelli? Is Paul here today? Hey, there's Paul in the back. How you doing, bud? All right, then from Atomic, I know we got Glenn here. Is there anybody else from Atomic? Glenn's over here. And then from CMA, is Jay here, or anybody from CMA? No worries. Okay, so if we can give them a round of applause, please. These events would not be possible without them. So there's a new speaker system in the house. How does it sound in the back? Is it too loud? Do we need to turn it down here? Everybody good? Okay, great. I did want to talk about one thing before we got started. Apparently, you guys are doing a great job interacting with the group out on LinkedIn and connecting through the group and having conversations. Such a good job that LinkedIn thought that there was too much activity on the account, and they actually restricted the account and shut it down. So they thought that it was being hacked. So I got a couple of pings from people that said, hey Tom, your profile's not on LinkedIn and your group's gone on LinkedIn. Is it still around? Yes, we are still around. I actually had to send my driver's license front and back to a company that I don't know someplace, so now they have all my information, which didn't really make me feel all that great. But anyway, we're back online. We were offline for about a month and a half. It was about 3 weeks that we were on and off and on and off and on again. So we sent them an Instagram, and hopefully that's all taken care of. But in case you ran into that, I apologize, and we are back online. So with that, I would like to introduce Mike Kearney from Ameren, and he's going to introduce the rest of our panel today.
Thanks again, I appreciate the invitation, and you know, along with my colleagues here, we represent about 8,600 men and women throughout Ameren that literally are working to power the quality of life, even on cold rainy days like today, especially on cold rainy days. But it's been about a year ago since Tom and I began this conversation about, well, why don't we have Ameren to the Midwest Manufacturing Leadership Program? And you know, with all due respect, I try to defer because at that point, we knew that there were a lot of changes in play for us, and that we were in the process of bringing some new programs, some new services together that I think would be very pertinent for an audience like this. So we kind of deferred it, finally settled on November, and so it was kind of a stake in the ground. We better hurry up and get there. So, and today, I'll try to provide a quick level set. I'll just try to provide a quick level set, but really I want to defer to my colleagues here. They're the experts in the field. They have a lot of new programs, and there's nuances to each, so we'll work through those, and kind of at the end we'll respond to questions. But just a quick word about who is Ameren. First and foremost, we appreciate your business, and even though you may write that check on a monthly basis, very few people recognize the depth and breadth of Ameren. And for the slide over my head here, it's a quick glance. We are a 2-state investor-owned electric and natural gas utility. Serve about 2.2 million customers, electric customers, about 900,000, about 1 million natural gas customers. And so over the course of the next 5 years, we expect to be spending and investing about $11 billion in capital. And we'll explain a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But recognizing that this sector here only comes from both sides of the river, today we're going to focus our attention strictly on Ameren, Missouri. You may recognize that there are different regulatory environments on either state. different programs, different services. But what we'll do is we'll address Ameren, Missouri programs today. And then if you have questions from an Illinois experience or an Illinois need, just give me a call and we'll track that down for you. And maybe sometime in the future we bring Ameren, Illinois back to a program like this, because again, they have some very interesting programs and services that they can bring to you. So with all due respect to all of our customers, I think it's fair to say, why manufacturing? And as I mentioned earlier, in Missouri, we're, again, electric, about 1.2 million customers in Missouri, and about 130,000 natural gas customers. And basically, we serve mid-Missouri and along the eastern edge of Missouri. And we've done a number of analysis, and obviously, manufacturing is a huge sector for us here in Missouri. It's among the 5 largest sectors for employment. And as you can see over my shoulder, every year it accounts for about $29+ billion of products going out of the region, greater than those that come in. And overall, it's about a $29 billion GDP adder to the entire state of Missouri. That's huge. From an employment perspective, it's certainly the wages exceed the average wages, and you'll see about $50,000 average wage throughout the state of Missouri. In the manufacturing sector, it's over $80,000 a year. So that's huge. But more important, we call this a basic industry. Dollars are coming in from outside the region, and they multiply. And the multipliers that apply to manufacturing, whether it's automotive production or food production, they always range between 2 and 4.0. So that means for every dollar you spend, it's quadrupling throughout our economy. It's providing resources for facilities like this. It's feeding the restaurant business and the services business. So this is an important sector. And we believe that with manufacturing, by supporting what manufacturers do and how they compete in the global world, that this is going to be a significant play for our economic service area. It's a driver, and so we want to work to customize programs around manufacturers. And of course, you know better than I do that the nature of manufacturing is changing. We've got global competition. You hear about innovation taking on in this space. Manufacturing 4.0. These are huge impacts for utility companies. How do we respond to the needs of our customers and the expectations that you've set for us? Increased reliability, compete on cost, new technology, new services. So this is the mindset that Ameren's trying to bring to this discussion today. We've created an innovation effort within our company, trying to project, look down the road, 10 years. How is this industry changing, and where do we have to be to compete? So these are important issues that we're all wrestling with, but we want to be that trusted energy advisor because we know the expectations are high. Competing on cost, here's a quick snapshot based off of Edison Electric Institute data. We're about 6% below the national average. 6% below the Midwest average, about 8% below the national average. This is how we stack up with some other metropolitan areas that the St. Louis market competes against. But again, reliability or cost isn't the only thing. So this past June, the governor signed into law Senate Bill 564, the Smart Energy Plan. This allows Ameren new opportunities to reinvest in the grid of the future, enhance reliability, enhance services so you can monitor your energy use, new programs, and new programs to help not just manufacturers, but qualifying customers compete as they look at incremental load changes in their processes. So this is what we want to talk about today. So what we've done is we've assembled a panel, again, a panel of experts here, to start addressing each of these programs. We're going to start with Bill. Bill serves as director of our Energy Efficiency and Renewables program. He'll speak about some of the programs that we're just wrapping up, and then what the next generation of these programs is starting to look like going forward. He's working through the final stages with our regulators, and I guess it's fair to say maybe by the end of this month, we should have specific programs ready to launch, seamlessly launch in 2019. From there, we'll move to Brian Shannon. Brian's going to address some of the emerging technologies around electric vehicles. Another filing within the regulatory process that's actually before the commission, hopefully maybe by year end, I guess that might be fair. Taking a look at how we can help facilitate the deployment of electric vehicles. And then finally, we'll wrap up with John Maui, who will address off-road vehicles, off-road electric vehicles. What can we do inside the plant? Let's look at beneficial electrification, new technologies to help you be faster, cheaper, better quality for your own operations. And then if you don't mind, hang around because I'll wrap it up. We've got an exciting new program, an economic development incentive, trying to position Missouri going forward in economic development. So you can either take a photo of this slide, which everybody probably does for with their cell phones, but I also have hard copy back where you drop your badges off. So no need to try to hustle to take this information. Contact information here. What we hope to do today is start the discussion, try to field some of your questions later on, and then call us. Start having this discussion with Ameren, and we'll try to get those resources to you. So let me defer now to Bill Davis, our Director of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Programs for Ameren, Missouri.
Thank you, Mike, and good morning, everybody. I'm just going to cover a few topics. I'm going to start with why does Ameren even promote energy efficiency and renewable energy? There's a lot of really good reasons to do so. I'm going to focus on what I consider to be the top three. Number one being the environmental benefits. Whether it's energy efficiency or renewable energy, we know that we can reduce the amount of air pollution, the amount of solid waste, and even the impacts on water associated with the production of electricity. So really awesome benefits associated with those two pieces. Number two is the economy. We've been looking at sources of power for a long time, and we see that renewable energy and energy efficiency are really good sources of economic benefits in terms of jobs and local jobs. And lastly, I'll just say cost. It's actually a no-brainer. Energy efficiency, we've proven, looking at our long-term planning for the past 10 years, that it's cheaper not to use power than it is to produce more power. And also we see with renewable energy, especially wind, that the technology is improving day after day, and that producing power with wind and even solar now is becoming very cost competitive. So from a long-term standpoint, it's a very, very simple equation that these things just make sense. Let me jump to what programs we have today. First, I'm going to ask, who has participated in an Ameren, Missouri energy efficiency program, or even maybe put solar panels on their house or business? Okay, we got a few. All right. Well, thank you. If you've done that, that's what my team is responsible for. So when Mike talked about my responsibilities for renewable energy, it's more about renewable energy programs that customers participate in, as opposed to renewable projects that Ameren may build in So as I think about energy efficiency, what types of things we offer, especially for large businesses, basically anything that will save energy and pay back on an economic basis, we provide incentives for. We have basic stuff that we have standard incentives for. The classic example is LED lighting. I mean, the savings for LED lights are incredible. The technology is awesome. The prices of LEDs have come down dramatically over the past, 5 years, and they continue to drop. But even from a customer standpoint, this is kind of I'd say it's our mainstay, our bread and butter element, because the economics are so compelling. I mean, the LED lights are a no-brainer, and from a customer standpoint, the maintenance benefits are significant. I mean, the useful lives of the LEDs are incredible. At your home, hopefully people are installing LEDs, but in many cases, that'll be the last light bulb you ever install if you put an LED. I mean, some of these things last 30 plus years. It's incredible. We also have special programs for like small businesses. We have a small business program, direct install, really enhanced incentives. That was new for us back in 2016. It's worked out really well to get programs into smaller businesses who, sometimes there's issues about who owns the buildings and things like that. So we have a direct install component where a lot of times those customers don't even have to fill out a rebate form or anything. Very simplified process. And Mike talked about our new plans that we have starting, and those will actually start in March of 2019. And we're adding an element in that plan we call demand response. That's utility jargon for, it's like if customers curtail their load at the time of system peak, which are hot summer days, then we'll compensate them for that. We try to make that as non-intrusive as possible. In fact, there's some pretty awesome technology trends that really create a seamless opportunity. I'll use thermostats for an example on the residential side where, we can interact with customers' thermostats that don't even know about it, where we can understand what's going on in the temperature in the house, so it's very non-intrusive, and we have the same types of opportunities for large firms and large businesses as well. So we really look forward to launching that. We haven't had anything like that in the past, so that's going to be an awesome opportunity starting in March of 2019. For renewable energy programs, we have net metering programs, so customers install solar panels on their home or business. Their meter can spin backwards. So a lot of people take advantage of that. It's probably the greatest source of economic benefit from a customer standpoint. And Mike mentioned the Smart Energy Plan, and the Smart Energy Plan brought back solar rebates. So we have $28 million for rebates for customers to install solar panels on their home or business. If you get a project complete by June 30th of 2019, you're eligible for 50 cents a watt. And if you think about it, it's really significant right now, especially for large businesses. You could probably get solar for less than $3 a watt. So just from the rebate alone, you're talking, around 15% or more, and plus there's a lot of tax benefits available as well. So very awesome opportunity. In fact, from a customer-owned solar standpoint, we had solar rebates back in 2013 timeframe. We ended up running out of money for those, but we spent $100 million on solar rebates back in that timeframe, putting 50 megawatts of solar, customer-owned solar, on businesses and homes, 50 megawatts back in that timeframe, which is still 10 times more than what the amount of solar Ameren has on its system that's owned by Ameren. Now, this $28 million I brought up that just started, we opened that up on November 1st. In 24 hours, we had over $7 million of applications approved just in that first 24 hours. So really awesome opportunity for folks. If you go past June 30th, that rebate drops to 25 cents a watt. So no urgency there. But if you create some notes, and hopefully that's something you're interested in.
What if you run out of 28 million before June 30th?
Right now, we couldn't run out. So we got a question: what happens if we run out of 28 million before June 30th? Actually, there's a cap on $10 million associated with that because the $28 million we're spreading it out over a few years. But of course, basically what would happen is you get into the queue if you run over the cap for 2019 at $10 million. It's kind of interesting. I mentioned reaching $7 million in the first 24 hours, and what had happened there was we've been working with folks. When the Smart Energy Plan passed the legislature back in probably May timeframe, the solar installers started building up their sales queue. So by the time that those rebates hit the street officially November 1st, they had a lot of projects lined up. So we had this big influx. But still, it shows the pent-up demand out there. And by the way, I don't remember if I mentioned, but if we spend all that $28 million, we'd see another 90 megawatts of customer-owned solar come onto our system. So really fantastic opportunity to increase renewable energy out on our system. Now we have another program we just started in October, brand new program for Ameren. We call it Community Solar. It's a pilot program. We're trying to, if we can get enough people to sign up, we will build a 1 megawatt solar facility, and we will only build it if we get enough people to sign up. And that program is allowed allowing customers to lock in a fixed portion of their bill for that solar plant for 20 years. So totally new product. Right now it's only available for residential and small general service, and it's a 1 megawatt project, but it's a really awesome experiment. That project is over 2/3 subscribed already after, I think, 4 weeks. So I do expect that to be fully subscribed. And I think we're going to learn quite a bit from how customers feel about that. And there's going to be opportunities to expand that in the future. We'll see how that evolves. We also launched a program. Right now it's more of an invitation-only sort of thing, because again, it's a pilot, but it's increasing direct access for large customers to wind energy. Much more sophisticated product, but it's really going to be an interesting thing that we're going through to have a whole new opportunity for large customers to get direct access to wind power. We're going to see how that plays out over the next several months. So again, a lot of exciting stuff going on with renewable energy and energy efficiency. And I'll mention one more renewable energy program we have, and we call it Pure Power. Some of you may be aware of it. It's a renewable energy credit program for customers who want to buy renewable energy credits. And from my standpoint, being an economist, I'll tell you, having renewable energy credits is just as good as putting solar panels on your roof. So some customers prefer that product as well. It tends to be a little bit cheaper than some of the other opportunities. Let me wrap this up by talking about some trends I see with energy efficiency and renewable energy. Things that are on my mind in terms of where we're thinking programs may go in the future and things we're watching really closely. The first category, I'll just call it building integration, right? Whether it's a manufacturing facility, whether it's a commercial building, hospital, you name it. We see as customers get their lights upgraded and their heating and cooling equipment upgraded, their ventilation equipment upgraded, there's been more and more of a need to have some sort of centralized building control to maximize the performance of the facilities. And even when folks upgrade their heating, cooling, ventilation equipment, they want to make sure that that equipment is operating at peak performance. And you just spend a lot of money on that stuff. You want to keep it on track. And so I see a trend of that, more adoption there, but it's more than that. When I talk about solar rebates and solar on businesses and homes, that's the next stage as well, which is the interactive opportunities of managing building performance with that output of those renewable facilities. And in a lot of cases, especially with large industrial customers, using that to control billing demands. We know billing demands can be a primary driver of what the actual bill is. So looking for opportunities to combine energy efficiency, demand response, and renewable energy all to work together to minimize the customer bill is going to be a great opportunity. And we're also seeing, this is maybe a few more years out, but storage I see as a factor as well. Energy storage. Right now it's costly, but just as with LEDs, we see the prices and the cost of storage dropping precipitously. And from my perspective, that can be a real game changer in terms of how customers control their bills. But it's not going to happen unless we have that building integration, because it all needs to work together and be optimized. So the second category is what I'll call grid integration. So you have that integration happening at the building level, and that same type of integration is happening at the grid level. So at Ameren, from Ameren operational standpoint, we're looking at the same thing. We have, I mentioned 50 megawatts, over 50 megawatts today of customer solar on the system. We're, assuming we fully subscribe these solar rebates, another 90 megawatts of customer solar on the system. We're going to have integrated buildings on the system. Ameren's going to install its own solar spread out through the system. And the grid is going to operate in more of a two-way fashion, where the grid operators are going to be interacting with those resources in a totally different way than they do today. And even those buildings, which are all customer-owned, the grid operators are going to view those as resources at their disposal as well. And all of those things are going to work together. And we see, to me, that's really exciting. Growing up in the utility industry, that's a major change from how we operate today. But I believe that's going to happen. And I'll tell you why I see these trends happening. Number one, consumer preferences, customer We see a shift in the market where a lot of our large customers and even individuals have a preference towards renewable energy. And we see quite a bit of times when you're engaged in renewable energy, you're also, first thing you want to do is make sure you have an efficient facility. Basically, minimize the amount of renewable energy you need. Energy efficiency tends to be cheaper than renewable energy, so you can maximize your benefit by being efficient first. Second is investor preferences. Ameren's an investor-owned utility. A lot of other firms out there are owned by investors, and we see a global trend where investors are interested in companies who have sustainability goals or who are not heavily dependent on fossil fuels. And lastly, I'll say cost. Solar power, wind energy, energy efficiency, all of those are very competitive with the cost of power that Ameren provides. So as we see those costs drop, we continue to see interest in them, and those costs are doing nothing but going down. And we see that continue. And lastly, I'll say on the cost side, it's not just cost of those technologies, it's the cost of the alternative. For Ameren to build even a natural gas power plant would be over $1 billion. Just for what I would consider to be a basic power plant, 600 megawatt power plant. So the cost of the alternative is also very high. Ameren has a goal to reduce its carbon emissions by 80% by 2050. The only way to do that is to retire our aging coal fleet. So to minimize the cost of replacing that coal fleet, Ameren will be investing in, is investing in energy efficiency and renewable energy to be able to reach those goals. So thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
So I'm part of our EV or electric vehicle team here at Ameren, and that's kind of my focus area. My title is business development manager, but more, I like to think of myself as kind of going out to help our customers when they look into this technology. So I do have kind of a little bit of history about EVs to share with you guys. As you can see over my shoulder, this is actually one of the first electric cars, if you can believe that, that's Tom Sevenson. So I thought that was pretty powerful. It kind of showed, it does go back a long way. In fact, it wasn't just one of a kind prototype thing. They actually had, this kind of a setup for a, garage where you would charge. Can you believe that? So I just think it's really neat that electric vehicles have been around for a long time. One of the reasons why I wanted to share this information with you about the history, and I'll kind of step through the last couple of years of the technology, is to kind of show how far we've come and where we're going. And I think it's happening a lot quicker than what we ever could have imagined. So there were some failed attempts. This is what was called GM's EV1. It actually had a kind of a cult following, if you can believe that. It's kind of as you can see, it's not the best, let's see if my pointer is. It's not the, most sexy car. But it was really driven out of petroleum emissions in the 70s and 80s. They did actually kind of produce over 1,000 of these vehicles, but sadly, they didn't in the program. Due to the lack of interest, again, it didn't have the major following that everyone was thinking it would have. This is actually kind of a funny picture. They did have a funeral for the car, the people that really did love it and drove it every day. So I'm going to step up in time a little bit now to early 2010 to 2012 timeframe. So this is really when you see major automakers and manufacturers coming in and having vehicles that really could potentially appear. Of course, the Nissan Leaf. I think a lot of people are familiar with that. So GM really does kind of make a rebound here. The Volt, they did really take off. A lot of people still drive the Volts. And in fact, Ameren is actually, we've had all these cars. We really obviously want to practice what we preach, but the technology is really neat. And we still actually have these cars in our fleet. All of our coworkers, there's a page on our SharePoint, they can check out the vehicle, drive it around, take a client to lunch, run out to a meeting. So we do make that available to our employees. So we feel it's pretty neat. And a lot of folks, when you consider an EV, think, well, man, what's going to happen in 8, 9, 10 years? These cars are also working on Ameren's fleet, and we actually have not really seen a degradation in the performance. Actually, the range has been pretty good, so just kind of wanted to share that with you. Stepping forward again in time a little bit, I wanted to show today's EVs. So we have come a long way. There's a lot of different models up there, as you can see. I'll point out a couple. Right at the top is the Bolt. It's the Chevy Bolt, not the Volt with a V, the Bolt with a V. It is an all-electric EV, battery electric, 238-mile range. Obviously, we've got a hybrid as well, and I'll go through the differences of these as well if you're interested, kind of what that means. So that's a Chrysler Pacifica hybrid. Obviously, everybody knows this guy right here, hopefully the Model 3 Tesla. The Model 3 Tesla is actually the 19th best-selling car in the last quarter, actually up to this point this year, which to me that says a lot about a few things. These cars are becoming something that people believe in, want to drive every day. It's good for the environment, but Tesla's also really ramped up production. So we still have the Volt, which now has a longer range on all electric, about 53 miles. And then we have the new Nissan Leaf in the top left corner there, which has an all electric range of 150 miles. So we've got more kind of different options of cars. There's an SUV out there as well that's a battery plug-in electric. We've got more options for different types of vehicles and longer range. So this is going to be hard to see, and I apologize. I won't, just to kind of show, this is all of the different, so on the left side over here, this is all of the different all-electric vehicles, and it kind of shows, if you could zoom in, and I apologize, it shows the price point of the vehicle and the range, and then on the right side is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. So what that means is they do have a gasoline engine to do one of two things. One, charge the batteries and extend the range, or to kick in once the all-electric portion of the vehicle has been depleted. And it does list kind of a different range, so the all-electric range in orange, and the total range in black. This is a literature that we share with customers all the time just to kind of help educate and show the different options that are available. So, like I said, I will explain a little bit kind of different terms here. So hybrid electric is like the Prius. So it's you gas it up, there's no port to actually plug in and charge the vehicle. Then you do have a plug-in hybrid, so it's like a Honda Clarity or the new Prius Prime, and you probably see a lot of those rolling around. It's because it is one of the best-selling hybrids. You can actually plug in the vehicle, and it has a short range. Once that range has been depleted, it'll switch to the gas. The extended range, so the Chevy Bolt is kind of a unique one. That car is actually an extended range EV, so it's a battery electric vehicle. The motor actually only recharges the batteries as you drive. So the drivetrain is fully electric, just to kind of clarify that. And then of course we have the EV, or the battery electric vehicle. So why I'm kind of going through this, so my question was how, where, when do I charge? Maybe you're going to consider buying an EV now. There's a lot of options out there. The price point's coming down. It's getting closer to being equal with a traditional car. Well, a lot of the first questions that I find when I work with customers are, well, how do I charge? Where do I charge? When do I charge? How long does it take? So I figured I'd share a couple of those examples with you. 80 to 90% of all charging does happen at home. You can see this is a charging port on a Nissan Leaf. That's a standard port, and it actually has a fast charging capability. And I will explain what that means as well. So they all do come with their own 120-volt wall plug. You can plug it into the outlet just that's sitting over there and plug it in. Every single EV or plug-in hybrid does come with that. And so our average commute is about 35 miles in the US. That's about 8 hours of charging on the 120-volt will get you that back. So that's pretty neat. So there are several different options available. Level 1, Level 2, and Level 3. That's kind of what they're called. The Level 1 charging, again, it always comes with the vehicle. You can plug it into your wall. It gives you about 4 to 5 miles of range back on the vehicle per hour. So you can also do that if you look at this picture right here. That can also be available at the workplace, which I thought was, you can actually do 120 or the Level 2, which is on 240 volts at the workplace as well. So we have this is actually one that we have down at our campus, downtown at Ameren headquarters. And then of course you have a Level 2 you can install at your home, which a lot of folks are now. Those actually really ramp up the level of how quickly you can recharge the vehicle, about 12 to 25 miles per hour, depending on the type of breaker you put on it, so whether it's a 240, 40 amp breaker, etc. And then Level 3 is what we call DC fast charging. A Tesla supercharger would be considered a fast charger, and that basically just goes the range even goes up even faster. So why not? I think that now is a great time for EVs. and I kind of went through this history, and I'll show you why on the next slide. But basically, obviously, it's environmentally friendly technology. I did throw some economics up there. Less maintenance. There's very little to no maintenance on an EV at all. Tires, basically, for the first 8 to 10 years. Lower fuel costs and lower total cost of ownership as well. The price point right now for the initial purchase, I'll be honest, it's a little bit higher than a traditional car of the same type, but you can see over the total cost of ownership on the vehicle, it really is better for the EV. And you know, to that point, the technology is changing very quickly. We have 300 plus mile range now. Someone said at a conference that I attended in Long Beach, and we went to an electrification conference, John and I did, and basically it said the breakthrough EV will have a $30,000 price point and a 300 plus mile range. We're getting really close to that. In fact, every time that they've predicted when battery technology is going to get better, the industry goes a little bit quicker. So I think that's pretty neat. And also, we've been kind of working with a lot of the OEMs and manufacturers. They do promise a lot of more models in the U.S. in the next 2 to 5 years. So I think that's really exciting. You know, but I like this stuff. So I kind of manage at Ameren, and this is my second to last slide, and then I'll turn it over to John. I manage the on-road electrification program at Ameren. So basically what we do, we work with customers to help when they consider doing these types of things, when they have employees saying, hey, you know, we have these vehicles now, you know, we'd like to charge at work, to charge at home. So part of the program, obviously, I work with public transit as well, and also the charging infrastructure. So around town, there's 3 different types of infrastructure around town. You may see these charging at the restaurant, at the mall, workplace charging, and then the charging corridor, which is really neat. Ameren, Missouri is part of a group of utilities in Missouri. We're kind of taking the lead to set up a charging corridor across the state of Missouri. So let's say you're going to drive from St. Louis to Kansas City. Right now, if you stop in Columbia, maybe there's a charger, maybe not, maybe it's full. What we want to do is put in charging islands across the state on all the major thoroughfares, interstates, even some of the other major state highways. So every 70 miles or less, you hit a charging island, which would be pretty neat. And you have level 3 fast charging available, which again, in about half an hour, you can get about 80% of the range back. My last slide, so I just wanted to kind of hit some of the benefits. You can see there's a lot of options up there. Transit buses, we are working with the local transit authority on a really neat project. Cars, shuttles, there's a lot of different technology out there. And I think it's neat because if you look at this, I want to highlight this bullet point right here. It's about $1 a gallon equivalent if you want to try to equate charging an EV to filling up a gas car. And we've seen over the history of Ameren perspective, energy costs is pretty flat. So if you compare that to gas, we kind of know it does this, right? So just a neat way to compare. Also, if everybody comes home at night and plugs in their car and waits until, let's say, 7 o'clock, because that's when the residential peak load for Ameren happens to end, it actually benefits all utility customers, because we can spread our energy costs over a longer time frame, and that actually will drive energy costs down for all customers, which I think is pretty neat. So, it's pretty neat to drive an EV. That's kind of my last point. I actually test drove a new Chevy Bolt, which is the all-electric model. It's not a Tesla, it's not going to go 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. But it goes 0 to 60 in about 6 seconds, and I tell you what, when you punch it, it goes. And I actually broke the tires loose on the test track. I don't know if the guy was super thrilled about doing that, but it was pretty fun. So I encourage you, if you haven't thought about it, just try one. We're here to help as far as, we work with a lot of different customers when they're considering workplace charging and things like that. So just wanted to share that information with you guys. Really, really appreciate the time, and I'll go ahead and turn it over to my colleague, John.
Okay, I'm responsible for the Ameren Off-Road Energy Solutions. And the 3 key points that I want to talk to you today are: what does the program consist of? Why was the program developed? And how can you participate if interested? So I'd like to start with point number 1. What does the program consist of? First of all, I'd like to say this is a scalable program. It was designed by Ameren to be able to scale in new market segments as they become mature in the electrified world. And they will be pulled in and serve the same benefits as the 4 here that we're starting with. These 4 are lift trucks, airport ground support equipment, truck refrigeration units, and truck stop electrification. The reason we've chosen these 4 market segments is because they're mature segments, they've got electrification products available today, and in many instances, they've already got traction in the market space, and quite frankly, the market is demanding an electrification solution. So, what we encourage you as a customer is to reach out to Ameren or one of our dealers that we're in partnership with, invite us out to your facility, and allow us to do a consultative walk with you. That consultative walk would consist of going through your facility, understanding what your hours of operation are, what your days a week of operation are, what your process is, how you're utilizing the trucks, what your charging opportunities are, etc. And my conversation is going to today deal most specifically with the lift trucks. I believe that that is probably the particular market segment that's going to touch most of you here today. Point number 2 is why the program? Why did Ameren generate an off-road program? Quite frankly, again, the market is requiring it, and the market is ready for it. Secondly, a common theme that you've heard from Bill and Brian is technology. Technology is moving so quickly, and it's opened so many opportunities for us. Technology as well in the lift truck industry is moving quite rapidly. Over the last 5 or 10 years, most of the technology advancements has been on the electrified side of the business rather than the combustible. And that technology primarily is around batteries and battery chargers. Over this period of time, battery chargers have reduced to about half of the footprint that they were previously. Batteries themselves had the opportunity to run up to a 16-hour two-shift period through opportunity charging and the lithium-ion and the TPPL technologies that we're seeing a lot of lift trucks migrate to today. There's a financial payback to going electrified versus combustible. That financial payback typically, under normal usage, would be in the period of 18 to 24 months. When we look at lift truck lifespans, normally we associate it to lease lifespans, which run about 5 years. So after about 24 months, that's a return on investment over the next 3 years. Significant emissions reductions. That is a given. When you go to electrification, you're reducing the amount of emissions that are put out into the environment. But you have to ask yourself, who really cares about this? Does anybody really care about it? So I came across a couple of studies, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm a baby boomer, and I thought my generation cared the least about environmental protection. But MSNBC did a study, and in this study they actually state that the boomer generation kind of sparked the revolution of environmental protection. It was sparked through the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the first Earth Day, all taking place in the early 1970s. This study also showed that the baby boomers and the Gen Xers had a desire to protect the environment to the tune of about 57.1%. The millennials, they had a desire to protect the environment to the tune of 59.1%. So these 3 generational demographics were tightly connected in terms of their desire to protect the environment, but none of the 3 were interested in investing in it. So they had a desire to protect it, but they weren't really interested in spending the money for that sustainable measure. The Nationalists also did a study around this point in time, and they took a look at specifically Generation Z. And Generation Z, 46% of Generation Z was spending additional money in order to purchase a sustainable lifestyle. Also with Generation Z, 31% would actively boycott companies that would not show sustainable measures. So Generation Z proved to be the first generational demographic to put their money where their mouth is. So, aside of good trivia knowledge, how does that fit to the off-road program that I'm talking to you today? From a financial payback and from an emissions reduction, those 2 perspectives right there satisfy the 4 generational demographics that I spoke. It encourages these generations to move forward to the sustainable measures, and in this case, electrified lift trucks. So I'll close with point number 3. How can you participate in the program if you're interested? We have relationships with the majority of the lift truck dealers in our service area. They're aware of this program. They're on board with it. They see the trend that's going in the way of electrification, and they're out promoting it with us. We encourage you to reach out to your dealer or multiple contact points here. As Mike said at the beginning, you've been given our information when you walked in. You can certainly feel free to reach out to me. But we encourage you to invite us into your facility. Let us do a consultation walk with you. That consultation walk is about walking through your facility with you, understanding what your process is, pulling all the data in. How many propane trucks do you have? Do you have electrified trucks? And we have a calculation tool that we can run all these numbers through and generate a report back to you. And it will give you line by line by line information on the year 1 cost through the life of that vehicle. It talks about the maintenance, the cost of battery replacement, and it's a very fair comparison contrast with propane versus electric lift trucks. And at the bottom of that report is in metric tons the emissions that is saved through this measure. So that's all I've got here today. I'm going to turn it back over to Mike. I appreciate the time to visit with you. I wish you a good Friday and a great weekend.
Certainly appreciate your patience, and if you have time for one more, I'd like to introduce a new program from the economic development perspective. I began my program this morning saying that, Ameren is seeking the power of quality of life. And, well, we're connected, I guess literally and figuratively. Not only do we extend that line to, for your own services, but we're connected to the community. Your prosperity is ultimately our prosperity. This is our geography, this is our service area, and Ameren commits to being a partner in community and economic development. We work with the state agencies, the regional agencies, and all the local agencies. I mentioned earlier about the Senate bill that passed through our legislative session this past year. And in that, they authorized a new and I think very creative economic development incentive. Again, your prosperity is ours. And so what we want to do is encourage you to expand your facilities. This starts with our existing customers. And it's not just manufacturing, it's qualifying customers. There's some caveats in our charter. But we're about a month away now to formally introducing what we're calling the Economic Development Rider. We call it Missouri Forward, because we think that this is a step change in how we compete as a state to attract new investment, new jobs, and to help you bridge that gap to that next generation of manufacturing. So a couple key points to this. It's a average 40% discount over a 5-year period. 40% as long as it doesn't go below our incremental cost. But for its new and expanding customers, so it does have to be an incremental load growth to your system. We have a minimum threshold and some key requirements. If this makes sense, it's a 300 kW threshold, that's the demand, and a load factor greater than 55%. We also like to follow the public sector incentives, so we like that to be in tandem with this program. And we ask that application be made before any formal announcement. So we think this is a significant convergence for companies who are, in their capital investment planning horizons, who are looking at that next generation of technology that is going to grow. So we put this on the table to be a partner with our agencies in economic development and to continue to foster this growth throughout the 5-year period. Our hope is that this will be renewed in the future. Right now it has a 5-year life, and we have a few caveats that were to go away. And what I'd like to do is invite you to reach out to us. This is it's still in the final stages of a regulatory review process. We are hopeful that by the end of this month it'll be approved, and then we'll have more of a formal press release and events on this. But don't hesitate to reach out. We've actually already put this on the table for an expanding customer in mid-Missouri that was announced last week. So again, we're looking at existing businesses. We're looking at talking to headquarter operations, if this would support your operations here locally. And then we're also out there working with the Missouri Partnership to knock on those doors for new and expanding business. So we welcome that change. So we're right at about 10 minutes to 8. Yeah, yes, I'm sorry, 10 minutes to 9. Tom wanted to make sure that we left time for questions. So I'd like to open this up for questions for anyone on the panel. And then what we can do is we'll stick around as well. So yes, sir. Ben.
What's the status of solid state battery technology?
That's a really good question. So I've seen a lot of different articles. I follow a lot of the inside electric vehicle stuff, and but basically they're saying that I think for the next big leap in technology, it's going to be solid state. A lot of companies are working on it, but unfortunately, it's a little new to figure out when it's going to be and how great the technology can be.
Your 40% discount, is that just on the 300 kW, the new usage?
Only on the incremental increase, right? So if it's a 500 kW increase, it's on, and that's an average 40%. It can go as high as 50% on any given year, not lower than 30%, but over a 5-year period, it's got an average 40%. Yes, we're back there to the left.
What's the status of your smart meter program?
In development, I'll say my sense is that you'll see something in terms of rollout within 18 to 24 months. What we see with smart meter deployment is there's a very significant infrastructure build out that needs to happen before we even set the first meter. But with the Smart Energy Plan approved, that has really jump-started Ameren, Missouri's plans. We've been looking at it for many years, so I would say we're going to do that as quickly as possible. Our Ameren, Illinois sister company launched a smart meter plan, probably close to 5 years ago. So we can learn from them, which will help us move faster, but that infrastructure build-out is going to take, I'm going to say at least 18 months.
If I could add to that, you may have seen the news that Ameren's one of the first utilities in the nation to have a private LTE system, and I think that's critical infrastructure. And Bill mentioned that, the way digital technology is emerging, our communications group is out there trying to work on using it. Next question. Yes, sir.
At one time, Ameren was heavily dependent on coal for generating power. What is the current breakdown of what Ameren uses? Coal, natural gas, solar, nuclear? What's the breakdown of how Ameren generates power?
You want to address that?
Yeah, I can get pretty close. Let's see here. The breakdown of our current generation portfolio, I believe, was the question. We are, from an energy perspective, somewhere north of 60% coal, right around 15 to 20% nuclear, and 4-ish% hydro, and then we have some natural gas generation that's mostly for peak demand. As for wind and solar, right now, Ameren only has 5 megawatts of utility-owned solar. We have a 100 megawatt wind farm that we have a purchase agreement with, but in the next, 2 to 3 years, 2 years, we're going to have 700 megawatts of wind, which is a really big deal for us. And I think you'll see some more solar come on over the next, I'm going to say by 2025. I think we're planning on getting up to about 100 megawatts of solar. So I would say right now we're in the midst of transition. At the beginning phases of it, I mentioned reducing carbon emissions by 80% by 2050. We're looking at, I think it's 35 or 30% by 2030, something in that range. So you're going to see that transition speed up quite a bit in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes, sir.
I think that 10 to 15 years ago, we talked a lot about atomic energy. We didn't hear a whole lot about that tonight, but I kind of sense that maybe it might be being phased away or just still there.
megawatt nuclear power plant in Callaway County, very efficient plant. We see that stick around for a long time. As far as new nuclear plants, I would like to see more, but unfortunately, it's not panning out. You know, years ago we were talking about even what we call modular nuclear, but that's kind of gone by the wayside. There are 2 utilities in the United States that are building nuclear power plants today, or that were. Unfortunately, I will say that those projects are marred with cost overruns and schedule overruns. In South Carolina, in fact, they shut the project down. And in Georgia, you know, they're a couple $1 billion over their cost estimates. So, new nuclear is struggling, I would say, from Amherst's perspective. It's not something we're considering seriously at this point.
If I can echo that, you know, I think Callaway is a fine functioning operation, but they're focused on that. You may recall that Ameren got into the small modular as an exploratory process back about 5 or 6 years ago now. And again, I think that is emerging technology, but you know, customers want renewable right now, and we're trying to provide that in a whole plan going forward. Hopefully, nuclear does come back, you know, throughout the IRP. So I think we have another couple. Yes.
I had attended a talk 7, 8, 9 years ago on transportation, it was transportation for the desert. Back then, one of their concerns about lithium, everyone was pushing for lithium, was the actual supply of lithium. Their concern was, if you put a lithium battery in every car throughout the world, or even throughout the U.S., you could deplete the lithium supply within several decades. Has there been any improvement on that? Because lithium is a limited resource. My other question was, have they explored anything with hydrogen?
So I'll address the second part of that question with a quicker answer. Yes, so there are hybrid fuel cell vehicles as well, and kind of hybrid fuel cell electric vehicles. If you ever look in some of the business pages, even LinkedIn sometimes, there's a company called Nikola, off of Nikola Tesla, that does hydrogen fuel cell powered semi-trucks. They're kind of a competitor of the Tesla semi. So that is a technology. There's also in ZEV or zero emission states like California, who are programs that are light years ahead of most other places. They have, actually I was driving there at the conference and saw, a fuel cell hydrogen Honda Civic. So there are in certain areas where that is a requirement, there is that technology. On the lithium piece, I know, Tesla and other companies like Volkswagen, Audi, even Toyota, they're building giant factories to make their own batteries. I think that's solving some of those issues, but I think that's a great point, something we should definitely consider going forward.
Other questions? Well, we're at the hour, but just as a closing comment, we recognize in today's world you have choices. And I think from the programs you've heard today, we want to compete for your business. We're going to work hard to be your preferred choice for energy, for products, for services. So this industry is changing, your industry is changing, and I think the key here is working with your utility, working through its programs to have that trusted energy advisory relationship. So again, thank you for your time today. I hope we've prompted some further discussion, and like I said earlier, we'll stick around